Welcome to the BS Roll. It's BS Roll at nights. Where the campaign is on hiatus for the moment because summertime.
In the
Where
city.
the living's easy.
Oh yeah.
Summertime.
One on the mic like Ross MG.
I don't know.
I'm
But
sure that's a lyric.
it's
Sure.
summertime. People are on vacation. Life stuff is in the way. Campaigning be hiatusing. The campaign is on vacation.
The Kampen vacation.
So it is just Nick and Curtis this moment. We're missing a Valerie and Ryan.
Because they feel like they need to have lives and do stuff.
Yeah. So we'll start with Curtis. And since we talked last week about things,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, memorable moments from campaign so far. What is the most memorable thing about the campaign so far?
Dying
Yes, dying.
twice.
Twice. The first time was when.
Fought Darius,
That's right. Darius.
and I tried to charm him into just letting me come inside. Or no, I was trying to get him to leave, but he saw right through me in my shitty rolls.
Yeah, and then he attacked you. I wasn't there a backdoor crew?
Yeah,
Yep.
I was the front door crew.
Yep. Me and M. Scott were at the front door.
No, it was just me at the front door.
No, I was with you. We
Right.
split 2 and 2.
Nope,
I promise you.
I was alone.
Nope.
Go listen to it.
I will go
alone.
listen to it because I threw a dagger at a guy at the front door to start combat. As Darius was up on his little
Platform.
platform from the second level, talking down, and I murdered people.
Pretty sure you were underneath him. I don't remember.
It was so long ago, literally a year ago.
Pretty much, yeah.
I 100% remember though.
I'd have to listen to it again. So the first death is memorable.
Memorable. It was
Memorable.
scary.
How is it scary?
Well, I didn't expect to die that quickly.
I mean, sure.
Well, you did also try and block the doorway so that Darius couldn't leave.
Well, we had to commit, but just didn't expect dying to happen.
And then Darius blocked the doorway after you were down. And then he just stabbed you.
Yeah.
Which is really rude.
It was.
Didn't you guys keep giving M. Scott potions?
I think that was where we discovered just shoving potions down people's throats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right down the gullet.
Right down the gullet. Because I think you guys all went down a couple of times. And Defina was the only one left and kept trying to revive people.
Yeah, there was a lot of a quote healer, not a healer at all, just running around trying to.
Get somebody up.
Yeah,
And then you had that roll, or made you roll to see if God would intervene.
I think that was the
I don't-
first time we fought him. The second time,
The
we
second
didn't
time.
go down quite as much.
Oh, yeah, there was 2 times. that
yeah.
you
We
fought.
tried to fight him.
Yeah, because you guys, if I remember the counter right, on the second time, I had a table set up, so I do believe it was a D6, and if 1 and 2, he would be there, or a 2, there may have been guards. 1, there would have been guards, or 2, he was there with, I don't remember. 6, it would have been empty, and you guys just kept rolling shittily.
Yep.
For multiple days.
For multiple days, that happened.
2 days.
Yeah, because you scouted it out and saw that he was still home, and you're trying to get there when he wasn't, and I think you guys just said, screw it. We're going in
We
hot.
just got to do it. Just got to do this thing.
That might have been the time that I went in the back door. Was the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
Because I snuck upstairs.
Yeah,
and
the
broke
time
into
that I
the safe.
died. Yeah,
Well, that's true. You did die on the second time we attacked him.
yeah.
Everyone died on the second time. except for Davina.
I
Well,
did
no,
not die the second time.
I
Everyone,
died.
everyone went down the first time, and that's when the God intervened and got up M. Scott, and then M. Scott got me up, and then I picked up Babylon and fucking ran.
Oh yeah, you guys did run, and that's why that encounter was different because he was now expecting
Yep.
someone to come in and rob him.
Because in the second time around was when
He had multiple guards and stuff.
he had multiple guards.
But it was that second time that I tried to disguise myself and charm him.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
you were disguised as a guard.
Yep. I was trying to get him to leave so that you guys could get in there.
You rolled shitty.
Yep, that's right.
Uh,
That's how that second time went.
Mm-hmm. The time that I died.
Like,
Yes.
died.
I remember the time that I died. Remember how we said this was a memorable moment? When I said the time I died?
Every time you die, just bleeds together to me.
This all becomes a blur. One of my favorite moments with him, Scott, was of course you and the Baron selling drugs.
He's not great at it.
Well, I wouldn't think that a paladin would be great at selling drugs.
Well, he had high charisma, so I thought, like, if we were going to find... I was hoping for, like, somebody who wanted some drugs, and I was going to need to do some negotiating.
But you picked the holy man.
And a woman and child.
Yep.
Do you want some holy drugs?
Oh gosh, the whole drug arc with him, Scott.
That Snee now has the drugs. I'll pick up his trade eventually. When, the world's, like, back to normal.
If that ever happens. But
Could have used your wish spell that Kolabesh had. Instead, you'd use it to find Snee.
yeah. Jerk.
I would have really enjoyed, though, if he goes, man, I wish all these dragons were on another continent, and then somehow, like, Babylon's on another continent.
That was the thing. You have to be very specific which wish spells, so any dragon-like creature would have been affected.
Or however the DM pleases to be.
And I please to be a jerk.
Yep.
So there was no clean way.
You just be
Out of-
very specific.
Yeah, very specific.
It would have been like, I wish these 4 dragons that are being used by the Zendar's crew would disappear.
That are red.
That are red.
Yeah, I would accept that. But no, you had to find Sneak.
Or build a statue for him, Scott.
Because you had 2 wishes, and the first wish was used to rally the people
Oh, yep.
Yep.
in Tegan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
To heal all of them.
Yeah.
To heal all of them.
And then the second wish was because Snee got voided.
Still got those cards, too.
You do still have some cards of the deck of mini.
I'm going to convince one of these dragons to fucking pull a card.
To pull a card.
And then watch them pull the one where they get, like, just a henchman to join them around and everything. I'm like, cool.
the level 4 fighter, I think. I really hope you do pull that card. Someone does. And you get the Jaeger or poor level 4 fighter.
My favorite. Here's my question. And you don't have to answer, obviously.
Uh-huh.
If we pull that, are you going to allow him to begin to level like we level?
I would have to look at the card again.
But I also hope it's Defina, so then or not Defina, it's Ida, so then Valerie has to talk with her and her level 4 fighter.
Yeah, because I'd make you Jaeger, level 4 fighter. I think I would allow the fighter to level up.
It'll just stay several levels below us.
Yeah, and it's supposed to fight to its death. Like it's supposed to, whoever pulls that card, it will fight for you
To its death.
to its death.
Yep.
So I really hope one of you will get that card.
Squire, please kill these minions for me.
He just gets murdered immediately.
That's it.
That's it.
That was shit.
Because now you guys are, what, level 10?
Think so. That sounds right.
Somewhere around
I
there.
haven't looked at it in a minute.
I'm not.
No,
No,
you were a level ahead.
I was a level ahead. I think
And then
Kolobash is a level ahead of me.
Yes.
And then
Everyone else.
caught up to me.
Yep.
am I the only one that's up a level now? Because
Yeah,
I thought.
I think it's just you.
Okay.
I'd have had the chance, but her card was she had to kill the next encounter by herself.
Oh, that's right.
And then I definitely made sure that didn't happen
Such a
Petty.
with Cal Ferris.
Yep. No, he didn't know. No one knew, technically. What else about M. Scott? Your second death?
Yeah. How about the other time he died?
Yeah.
You paralyzed him, and
Mm,
then death rayed him, so he died standing up,
yeah.
and no one knew he was dead.
Yeah.
Till the paralysis came undone.
Yeah, until the end of the paralysis, and then he just fell over. That was it. He was gone.
It was gone. I did give you, I don't know if we talked about it on the actual campaign episode, I did give you the option if you wanted to have him get resurrected somehow.
Yeah, I just didn't think that was narratively interesting to have him die multiple times and keep coming back.
Especially now that we have a character that can do that. Which I still want to happen for us to find out for the first time because we're all going to freak out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he needs to get like,
Disintegrated.
yeah, he needs to get it to disintegrate.
Disintegrated or just completely like no longer exist, and then he'll show up a mile radius from where he died. Or
Well,
they.
maybe the next time that we fight a dragon, they'll die, and then Babylon will just, if Babylon dies from like a fire breath, you can, cinematically say like,
turn to
oh,
ashes.
they just turned to ash
Uh-huh.
because it's dragon's breath.
Uh-huh.
Would make sense.
That whole arc where you guys are carrying M. Scott
In a rug.
in a rug.
I believe it's over there. Is still his drawing.
Yeah, so I painted our table white so they could draw on it, and there's a nice drawing of M. Scott in a rug on the table.
To memorialize.
Yep.
You guys forgot at one point that you still had him.
Just very briefly.
He didn't get left behind or anything. I'm pretty sure Kolovesh is the one that actually carried him.
Well, because we left M. Scott in a fucking room in an inn,
On your
and
way
then
back.
we were like, maybe we should like make sure that the cleaning crew doesn't go in there and find a dead body
Ah! Oh my gosh.
with our makeshift
In a rug.
cryo setup that we did.
Oh, yeah, because it wasn't actually a rug. It was
It was the
that, like, cool dragon.
No,
wasn't
it was a
dragon,
lizard.
It was a cold lizard.
It was I think a frozen or whatever
a frost lizard.
frost
frost lizard.
salamander.
Yeah, salamander, and we
Frost
took the
salamander.
skin, and then I would just freeze the insides
Jesus.
sporadically to make your body not just decay into gross, icky.
That whole arc.
It was great. Coming
mean-
down the mountain for more.
Uh-huh. There was so much in that arc that happened
It's true.
in that first arc. I mean, you had Babylon's death and then becoming a revenant
Yep.
and the connection with the Raven Queen. M. Scott dying completely.
We gained Kolobesh.
Yeah.
We gained Ida.
Uh-huh. Defina.
The wizard knows what Snee is.
Uh-huh. There was a lot that happened in that first arc. Yeah, because everyone else kind of walked off. I don't remember why you were left behind.
I was trying to stay back away from the paladins.
Yeah, I think that was intentional.
Yeah, Ida and Babylon went forward. Me and Kolobesh stayed back to avoid the paladins coming in. And when we got outside the cave, Kolobesh just like beelined it right out, and I tried to do the same, but being stealthy, and then my stealth roll failed. One of the few times my stealth roll fails.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tried to talk my way out of it. Fucking Clyde, he's gonna fucking get fired though. Well, make sure.
Oh, yeah, you had that vendetta against that paladin.
Just the one.
Just that one single paladin.
He was also stupid.
Yeah. And ignorant.
I mean, paladins aren't very smart.
That's true. We discovered that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I forgot. Now, thinking about it and talking about it, I've forgotten how much has happened in that Moore arc.
Yep.
Any other memorable things? Curtis? Colabash?
There hasn't been much memorable about Colabash except for he doesn't really have to fight. He gets low initiative rolls and the team just cleans up the rest of it.
It's true.
You'll have to start developing that into the character.
There's like an ego about him.
He already has.
A little bit, yeah.
The dragon won't land because it fears me.
That's true. Yeah, he does have that level of arrogance.
So powerful, I don't even have to fight things for them to die.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't when you fought one of the generals or the lieutenants from Hell, did he go down? Someone got really close
Yeah,
to death.
Colabash.
I think Colabash did.
Yeah. It was against the Pit Fiend.
Because I was doing radiant damage to it.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I would bet it didn't.
It almost fucking like one-shot Cal Ferris.
Uh-huh.
I was like, fuck. And then Colabash came in and started taking the brunt of it, and Cole Ferris would just run in, hit him, run away.
Yeah. Because I felt like I had to beef up the Pit Fiend a little bit because he took out that other lieutenant very quickly.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I beefed him up a little bit. And then the narrative reason was he would have kind of gotten, or kind of knew who Cal Ferris was a little bit.
Yep.
So,
It's cool. We killed him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
And well, I think also you anticipated us going after Snee first,
Absolutely did.
and that's not what Colabash wanted.
And now Kolvish gets to deal with another god.
Yep.
Or you get to deal with another god.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
These gods are going to owe us big time.
Wasn't it the same god? It's just
It's,
This is Pelor.
yeah, Pelor.
yeah.
Same
He
god
always,
as the
he
other
always
paladins.
had. Yeah, he always had.
Yeah,
Pelor.
I was referring to you dealing with another god now.
Directly, though.
Oh yeah.
Talking to you in your head.
In your head.
Copyright.
We've already done multiples, and you can do it for up to 30 seconds.
I can reveal this. M. Scott's god. Everything he said to you was the
Chateau.
Cheshire's cat.
It was straight Cheshire Cat talk.
Uh-huh.
You pulled it straight out of Alice in Wonderland.
Uh-huh.
The big... Every time he's like, yeah, there's just a big old
Grin.
grin, I was like, man, that just makes me think of Alice in Wonderland's cat.
Yep. And a lot of the quotes he would say to you was like a variation on what the Cheshire Cat quote. Whether it was from the fairy tale or the Disney property, I pulled from both. Yeah. I can reveal that.
Plagiarism. At its finest.
I have somewhere in my notes, I should give it to you, it's just all of his quotes.
Or you just had him laid out like that?
And I would try to, when he was talking to you, I would look through my quote list and be like, oh, that makes kind of sense.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we learned Chateau's actual name at one point, which I forget what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
we
what
did
was
hear
it?
that.
I would have to look through my notes and look at his name.
It's just a name.
Yeah.
Edward, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was Edward.
it was Edward. Because it was revealed later on that the actual god of chaos was killed by Eurytus.
Mm.
And Edward was kind of his lead worshiper, champion, and was
Trying to take up the mantle
uh-huh.
and ascend.
Mm-hmm. And ascend to godhood.
Which would have been really interesting to find that out if we still had M. Scott. He'd been like, what the fuck?
You know, I could have been doing that the whole time.
I mean, that was a possibility. I will say that.
Well, and you
To
know,
beat my god.
Mhm.
you look into some lores and things, the power of being a god comes from worshippers. So,
I found the list of quotes from M. Scott's God. And they're all Cheshire Cat.
Yes, they are. Now that I see them on paper.
You should recognize some of them.
Well, yeah, some of these came up in conversation.
Yeah.
We're all mad here. I'm mad. You're mad.
Yeah, I use that one.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm not crazy. My reality is just different from yours.
I mean, they're perfect for a god of chaos.
Yep.
So yeah, if you wondered where that god came from, Cheshire Cat. My influence.
That's a good influence.
Yeah. They may come up again.
Ooh.
Yeah, but now I know what they can say.
Just Cheshire Cat quotes.
Yeah.
Well, it was all about, like, he would talk to you normally, and then I'd try to work in one of those quotes.
Well, normal for a chaotic deity.
Right. That, had to make some sense. And
But mostly had to be sketchy.
yeah, really sketchy. And a little bit good natured, but also like kind of a douche.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we did put a dick on the duck for him.
Yeah, the 3 things he asked you to do, or was it 3 things?
I remember 2 specifically, which one was putting the dick on the duck, and the other one was giving money to the
Yeah, to that.
to the blind guy.
Yeah, that lame man.
Yeah, the
Or it was a lame man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was like specified that no one could know.
Yeah. Yep.
Never got to talk to that guy. I guess he's dead now.
Yeah, he jumped off a cliff.
Mm.
It was told in the story. I can reveal this, I guess. Basically, Chateau talking to him drove him insane, and he jumped off a cliff. No, I don't know if that was that guy. Because there's another guy.
I think you did say that he jumped off a cliff.
I
But
remember he went to jail, and then he just disappeared out of jail.
Yeah.
And that's the last that I recall about that guy. Because we were going to break into the jail and break him out to figure out what was going on, when lo and behold, the entire time
He escaped because he started getting magical powers as well.
that tracks.
And I think it's the same guy. Scatters himself on rocks was the quote. Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah, M. Scott would have had to have murdered him.
There can only be one
Yeah,
champion.
there can only be one.
There can only be one. I mean, that could have made you beloved by Chateau.
Yeah. See? And
who
maybe-
also apparently, watched too much Highlander.
And then I have to start pulling Highlander quotes.
I don't even like that movie. You made fun of me the last time I watched it.
Yeah, because it's a dumb movie.
It's a really bad movie, but it's amazing.
Well, he also made fun of me for watching it with you.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, man.
You know what? That'd be another good movie for them to decide to remake, but do it right.
I don't think they're doing that right.
I think you just need to let the dead be dead.
Nah, they're gonna remake it, guarantee you.
Probably. One of
They're
these
running out
days.
of other things to remake, so
100%.
I'm surprised no one has. They're probably not touching it because Sean Connery.
Isn't he dead?
Yep, that's why we watched it.
Oh, yeah. You're
Yeah, then
watching
we watched The Untouchables and
like the Sean Connery thing.
Yeah.
Did
But
you-
we found some of the more off the wall Sean Connery. You're like, why not watch? I don't know. The
good-
fucking 007 movies.
or the
'Cause he did
good
s-
Sean Connery movies.
I mean, I think I also watched Hunt for Red October.
There's that one, The Rock.
The Rock.
The
yeah.
Rock.
There isn't a lot of good Sean Connery movies.
There are plenty of bad ones.
Yeah, The League for Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I actually like that one, though.
It made him retire.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. He was so mad about filming that one.
Oh man. Any other things you want to pull from the campaign so far?
I think that's what I got with Kolbush and M. Scott.
Yeah. Anything that sticks out to you, either of you, so far?
No.
Perfect. Cool. We did talk about last week what brought you into D&D.
Technically, Nick brought me into D&D.
Ew.
Yeah, we started playing 2014. No, like 2015, 2016, something like
Something
that.
like that.
Wow.
We played a rogue.
Rogues are cool. That's probably my favorite class.
Rogues are really cool. They hit like trucks.
Once.
Once, yeah. But sometimes that's all you need,
Yeah.
It's true.
Uh-huh.
especially when they get up a higher level.
Uh-huh.
They'll take down anything in one hit.
Yeah. That's why, Mav is a rogue. It's my favorite class.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole underground thing. And he hits really hard once. And that's it.
We've never really gone back to that character.
What was his name?
Iruda?
Iruda, that's right. Yeah, we haven't had too many causes for him to just show up, but rogues are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's my favorite. So that's what brought you into D&D. Did you have any other experience?
Nope. I really don't think so. Like, other than video games and such. But
Yeah, I think actually, aside from some of the newer stuff you're doing, I don't think you've really done a whole lot with other people in D&D, except for maybe a little bit here and there.
yeah, not really. It's been mostly with you.
Fair. Yeah. I mentioned, I played 100 years ago, and I have vague memories of that. And then what brought me back was when the fire happened, and I started watching Critical Role all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it alcohol-fueled rage watching Critical Role, as you do.
Mm-hmm. As
Uh,
one does.
As one does, and I got really encompassed with D&D, but before that, not even realizing it, that a lot of the video games that we play are heavily D&D based. Like KOTOR is a famous example. It's pretty much straight up
It's almost like note for note,
Yep.
D&D.
like a Star Wars adapted D&D.
Yep. You have your proficiencies, your modifiers. It rolls for you without you knowing it. If you hit or miss,
You can
But it,
more or less choose your own path in that game. It's not like you're not on a track in that game.
yeah.
Like, you can decide to be good or evil
Mhm.
sporadically.
sporadically.
And there's multiple worlds there. You can go to each world as your leisure. You don't have to go a linear line. It is very kind of open world that way.
They're still working on that project, by the way.
Oh, the remake?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's
2024?
they don't have a date yet, I don't think, but it is still being worked on.
I really just want them to continue that storyline because I want to see how the two connect. So bad.
There's a book.
Yeah.
There is a book, but I want to play it.
Yeah.
The book wasn't good, and they kind of brought it up in the MMO, which also wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't play a whole lot of the MMO.
Yeah, there's a whole Revan thing in the MMO.
I do remember hearing about that. I just never got all that far.
Yep.
It was also before I actually had any sort of computer that could run stuff well.
Fair.
I mean, there are a couple times where I had a laptop that could, I could run that, or I could run WoW at the time. But then, those laptops don't last all that long anyway for quality
No.
gaming.
And you can't swap out parts when they go bad.
Yep. I'm dealing with that right now.
Yeah. My computer is, I think it's getting close to being on its last legs.
Oof.
When we were on the call on Monday, I had to reboot my computer 3 times before it would actually boot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a good sign.
That's
Yeah.
a good sign. Good sign.
Yeah, the only thing in mind that I really need, I think, right now would be an updated graphics card, but it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I can still play most games that come out, just not on ultra or high res. But that's about it. I don't have any major problems with mine yet.
Yeah, my computer is fine. It's my laptop that's garbage.
But
Yeah.
I also played a lot of the JRPGs, like the Final Fantasies, which are very loosely D&D based. Again,
Some of them are.
you have your modifiers and you hit or miss, and based off of certain roles.
Anything that's got stats of strength, dexterity, and I mean like you said, KOTOR. I mean it's literally strength,
Yeah.
dexterity, constitution, wisdom, and intelligence. Like they didn't even sugarcoat it to make it look more spacey or sci-fi. They're just like, boom.
And it's also heavily turn-based. Each enemy and each player has its own turn.
It was the only like awkward like drawback to the game is like when you were playing it in combat, everybody would just sit there for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything would happen, and then nothing would happen.
Yep.
Everything would happen, and nothing would happen.
What was fun about that game is you could turn all that off, so you could be more of an action RPG.
Yes, you could.
But if you
It
wanted
was,
to,
it was better, but there was still like just a little bit of a lag in between turns, if you will.
yeah, or you could just make it a straight up D&D clone where there's actual turns. Age or Dragon Age is another one.
Yep.
That's pretty big. That's straight D&D.
They did change it between the first and the second though. So the first one was very turn based. You know, you'd get your player would go, they would take their movement, they would go do whatever they're doing, do their attacks, and switch on to the next one based on, you know, dexterity scores or whatever. But the second one, it turned into a little bit more of a button mash.
Yep.
Where it was actual, like, all this is happening at once. You got to just keep hitting some buttons.
The third one was like that too.
Yeah.
You almost need a keyboard to type it in.
Pretty much.
I mean, it wasn't bad. You know, like I played both those on the console, so it was like, you know, you had your three main attacks you could have set up, and you can shift over. You just had to hit buttons quicker than just being like, oh, like in KOTOR, you could actually back up your character's
Like
attacks.
set
a
up
little
like
bit.
5, I think, or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you had a good minute where you could control your combat.
And I'd do that all the time. I'd pause combat, go through all my characters, and set up all their actions to the max, and then let it kind of go, and then it would just be like do 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 do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of these games have good parties too. Like you have to have a good party. In Dragon Age, you know, you had the healer, you had to have the tanky fighter person, you had to have, you know, the ranged person. If you wanted a good successful party, you couldn't just roll all mages. It was terrible.
I usually ran with one mage, and then everyone else was pretty much up close combat. And I would always make my mage a little bit more of the healer side.
I had a straight mage, a healer, and then I was always like a fighter, and then I had Alistair, whatever you want to classify him as.
He was a fighter too. But he was like a support fighter.
Where I had Morgan be a straight mage because
DPS mage.
she
could do some
powerful.
fucking damage.
And then that old lady was my healer.
Weirin or Wyron or whatever her name was.
I don't remember her name. Which is what I'm trying to do in your campaign now that I've kind of revamped the way I want to run that character is probably just going to be a straight up cleric. I'm not going to multi-class. Yeah.
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 No.
And I'm a straight up wizard.
Yeah.
Motherfucking wizard.
Because at level 17, I'll have like level 9 spells. And there's some nice.
There's some dope ass spells. That's the one downfall. And in like, you know, talking about like earlier D&D, like 3rd edition or earlier, you could multi-class from the start, but it took you longer to level up. But you would be like, you could be a level. What I wanted was I wanted to be a level 20 illusion mage rogue, because then I could like cast invisibility and then get the massive bonuses for being invisible and stabbing people in the back. It would just take me twice as long to level up as everybody else. And now they have multi-class, so you can never achieve peak level of any one class type because you're using your levels to either go one side or the other.
Yeah.
Unless you want to get bonkers with it.
There's some crazy builds that you can do. In Critical Role, there was one character that's a ranger and leveled up pretty high in ranger, but also started to dip in the rogue. So then they could cast Pass Without a Trace with the stealth and have like crazy rolls.
And then get access to some expertise levels on stuff too. When COVID first hit and TikTok was becoming a big thing, And I was watching a lot of them TikToks, but I'd watch a lot of D&D ones where they're like, here's this cool crazy build you can do. And like one of them that I remember off the top of my head was like a weird conglomerate of like rogue and druid and like something else.
I do remember watching some of those.
And so it was like, as the druid, you can, and I think it was like a little bit of fighter, but as a druid, you could shape change into a like a air elemental or something like that. But then you'd be able to grapple, and you would have like a row of just like thorns that they cast down, and then because you're a fucking rogue, you can use a bonus action to dash. So then you like run up and down, and it's like, I think the air elemental speed's like 60, so you like 120 feet up and down this fucking path of thorns, and every square you take them, the creature that you're grappling and carrying with you takes 1d4 damage. So you just fucking do that for a shit ton. It's like crazy some of the stuff people come up with, but it's like, it's also like a lot of them are like very one-offy or very hard to pull off.
Yeah. Because at some point you're going to be, or early on, you're going to be weak.
Yep.
You're not going to be good at anything if you try to get all these multi-classes.
Yep.
Yup.
Yeah, if you ever want a multi-class, you have to at least go level 3 or 4 and then start multi-classing.
And
that's my suggestion.
And also, whatever your main class is, you need to follow that stat. So if you're a fighter, you want to follow the strength stat. So you want to multi-class in something that's strength-based as well.
Yep.
It usually works best, yes. But you can dance around that a little bit.
You can. And for my cleric, he's a half-elf, so he has a high charisma. So I was maybe going to play into Bard because it's a charisma-based. And I had my wisdom and my charisma were almost, I think they're the same. So I wouldn't have any, like, weaknesses. But once you get higher on in cleric, you get some awesome things.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's another thing I always do when I'm building classes. I'm looking at end game, like, is this something I really want to stay in, or is it something I can go without if I can multi-class into something helpful? So, like, I looked at end game Paladin. Like, there's some cool stuff. Like when you go like high teens into 20, but I was like, but if I pair some of the lower level stuff with some of the stuff you can do as a warlock, I was like, I feel like that's a little bit more OP than just going all the way in Paladin. But like one I always said I would never really want to multi-class out of was like Barbarian, because level 20 you can get the +4 to your Constitution and your Strength, which can go over 20. So if you do it smart and have good stats, those would be at 20 when you hit 20, so then they're at 24, and then you're like, I have a +7 to Constitution and +7 to Strength.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, not to bring up Critical Role again, but Grog did, I think, a lot of levels in Barbarian and then went to Fighter. So then he has like 75 attacks.
That's also helpful.
Fighters are good with that.
Yeah.
Because he can go into a Frenzy Rage and get the 3 attacks and then go into, what is it, second? No, it's not second wind. What is that called?
Shit.
I know what it's called, but I can't think of it.
Where you get the additional attack.
Yeah.
Curtis, you play a fighter. What is it?
Deer in headlights. Gosh, what? Someone's screaming on the internet. What it is?
For real.
Oh, it's not second wind.
Because second wind's where you get
the
health.
Action surge.
So then he would get another set of actions. So then he can attack 2 more times.
Uh-huh.
So then Grog's hitting 5 times.
Uh-huh.
And especially with like brutal criticals and shit like that, that's another one that is helpful.
Yup. I mean, you're bound out of 1 in 5. You're bound to get a nat 20 at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll happen sooner rather than later, but you're also going to have some nat ones in there.
Well, that's true.
Yup. And I think with some barbarians, they crit at 19.
I think that's a feat.
You can do feats that allow you to crit at 19. And I think some fighters you can get it to where you can crit at 19 instead. So then if you do your shit right as a fighter to where your criticals are a 19 or a 20.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking at the cleric stuff. and there's not a lot of good feats. I already have Wardcaster. Other than like Spell Sniper, but it doesn't really.
Yeah, I was looking at that the other day. It's not.
Yeah.
It's nothing that I feel like would actually come in handy. 'Cause I thought about picking it up on our next level.
Yeah, it just meh.
Yeah, just kind of sits there. It might come in handy once.
Right.
You know, another one that I don't feel like people play enough of is a sorcerer, which you can get some pretty fucking powerful shit with a sorcerer, and because of their I forget what it's called, but their
Sorcery points.
sorcery points, yeah. You know, like you can use some of your sorcery points to entwine spells or duplicate spells, or a nice one is like when you drop AoEs and you
Mhm.
can negate team members from taking damage.
Spell shape.
Yep.
Or twinning it.
Twinning is, you know, like you fucking hit someone with a fucking high level witch bolt. Well, technically you could twin it and hit two different people,
Mm-hmm.
and you're dealing shit tons of damage, especially at higher levels.
Yep. Or 2 fireballs.
Two fireballs. Yeah.
'Cause the first one wasn't enough.
So you get 2 of them.
Now what you do is and I think it's, I feel like you can cast 2 spells at once with it. Some weird thing, I thought, but maybe not. But, 2 AoEs in an area that one lingers and the other one's just damage right off the front. But,
D&D.
yeah.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of sorcerers. Everyone always picks wizard over sorcerer for some reason.
You can get a lot more spells out of a wizard versus a sorcerer. Another downfall of sorcerers. So, like, clerics, paladins, rangers, druids can change spells after long rests.
Mm-hmm.
Sorcerers can only change out spells when they level up,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of sucks because you can't just like day to day be like, I want this instead of that. But you also don't get to gain extra spells like you do from a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We have a limited pool of spells anyway.
we'll spell slots, but you have,
You have to learn your spells.
yeah, for you have to learn or, figure out spells, but you could have a spell book that could have all of the spells.
Mm-hmm.
You play long enough, you could have all of them. But, and I think that too, I don't think the pre-made campaigns at least don't do a good job at being like, here's specific spell books that you could find.
Yeah.
They leave it up to the DM, so then the DM's going to be like, do I want to give him all fresh new spells that he already know, like he doesn't know any of them from these spell books, or do I want to have spell books that have some duplicated spells in it? So,
For sure.
I think they should have just generic, already set spell books for stuff.
Yeah, like an initiative, or not initiative, but initiate wizard, like here's your level 1 to 5 spell book.
Right.
And
Something
if you
like
don't
that.
find your intermediate book, then you're stuck with your shitty book for a while.
I mean, you can still cast like magic missile at higher levels.
It's true.
So-
That's true.
It's not like it's completely useless.
Yeah.
Like right now, I think I have a single 6-level spell slot. I don't have any 6-level spell.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Think my cleric has 1 6th level and I have 2 5th level. That's the other thing. When I get higher level, like I'll have 6, 7, 8, 9 are all just 1 spell slots. Yeah.
I get a bunch of spell slots.
I mean, I have a bunch lower level, but a lot of the healing stuff is lower level, and I can cast it at a higher level, and it does more.
Yeah.
Like I do have I may have mass heal, which does does like 70 points right off the bat, and you're like cured of everything basically.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other like weird spells that the cleric gets that I didn't realize. They get planar shift.
Mm-hmm.
Ethereal, which I was looking at, which seems kind of like a Misty Step, but different.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I'm like, why does the cleric... Alright. Okay.
I almost picked up planar binding, so I could have stopped you from doing those things.
Way to be counterproductive.
Yeah.
I mean, I also have banishment for whatever reason as a cleric.
I get that one though.
You banish demons
Yeah, you
and
banish
other
demons.
things from other planes.
Yeah, I guess.
Um,
I've been wanting to banish
yeah, I was
Michael.
I was looking at looking at number of spells and some classes over the last week or whatever. So like looking over wizards, like they have a pretty good number of spells all the way out till you get to like the higher levels, and there's not quite as many. But looking at clerics, because I did that earlier today or yesterday, you're like level 1 spells, there's like 16 options,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes up to 30, and then it goes up to like 40 or 50. And I'm like, okay, well, at least it started getting bigger. But I was like, it's weird that they only have like a really small number of first level spells. I'm like, that's stupid.
I mean, the cleric is supposed to just be a healer. You can be kind of a battle cleric. There is some attack spells, but a lot of the lower stuff is heals, and then you can just cast at a higher level.
Yeah.
Like I did on Monday, I did a 5th level mass cure wounds or something. So
Yep.
yeah, D&D, be D&D-ing.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You had questions.
Yeah. So, and you've kind of talked about a few things already. My overall arcing question was kind of where a lot of your inspiration comes from. You've talked about like some Critical Role. You talked about you pulled some stuff from Alice in Wonderland. But what other things have you gone for, like? Because the campaign we're playing, you're making all of it up. You're making all the characters. So like, is there someone that you've, like for Mav, that you've pulled inspiration to create, or is it just kind of something that, if you were to play a rogue, how you would want him to be, or
I tend to draw from a lot of things, and you'll find this in a lot of the speeches from the bad guys I've pulled from, or even the Hoot Force guy. There's a little bit of Lord of the Rings stuff in there. There's a little bit of Shakespeare in there. The bad guy, Darius, if you remember, was like the emperor mixed with Donald Trump's speech. I think I tried to get a little Hitler in there as well.
Why not?
Because why not? With Mav, it was just kind of, all right, this is kind of how I would play a rogue, and I also look at D&D stuff. So like there is a mastermind feat. So it's someone like that could lead a group of people, and they have certain feats that they can do. So I was like letting that inform the character. I didn't find out that Mav liked boats until later, and I decided to make that a character thing. Like, that's kind of funny. He kind of wants to be a pirate. That tracks. That happened way later.
like when we found the boats at Tegan?
Yeah, and when I was writing that, it has to make sense. How did they get all these people on the island? Basically, I was like, well, they had to have boats. That tracks.
That's why they took over all the coastal cities.
Right, and it blocks. It now creates a barrier, so now they can't get supplies from another city or the other continents, and a whole other bunch of stuff that I had to think about. And I was like, that was primary. And then I was like, oh yeah, Mav, I guess he likes boats now.
Which then, when we went to Mav's room to get into hell, boats.
Boats is all nautical themed, because I was like, that's a funny character trait that came just later. Like, that was never supposed to be a thing.
Here's a dude born in hell, brimstone and fire, and he's like, I want to sail the ocean blue.
Because it's just funny. So a lot of my decisions are, is it funny? Does it track narratively? and kind of using. I mean, Critical Role has been a huge influence on me. I mean, the dragons attacking is a huge arc in Critical Role. I just didn't want them to be the chromatic dragons again. Red dragons seem to be a little bit more chaotic and vicious and evil, so that's why I picked red dragons. And a lot of stuff that I've been pulling from is just what's happening on World now. Like Darius was obviously a right-wing douche.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The reason why the wizards are pricks was based off a song from Gloryhammer called Wizards, and it kind of talked about them being evil. When I was writing the campaign all the way back in 2021, I listened to Gloryhammer. And if you listen to Gloryhammer, it's a band. From the first CD to their third CD is just a story arc. This evil wizard comes and he attacks with undead unicorns in the city, and they have to find the glory hammer to destroy. Like, it's a whole arc, and that kind of influenced me a little bit. I was like, no one has wizards being absolute assholes. And so, yeah, they're assholes. They want to try to be like gods. They've captured the gods. So they're just assholes, and they're arrogant, and they have roped the paladins in because that's where they get their power from. So a lot of it, I've been influenced by a little bit, but a lot of it's just been like, what's funny? What makes sense narratively, what fits, and what can be the weirdest shit that I can come up with.
I like it.
Yeah. And I can't reveal too much because you guys are in basically the middle arc.
Yep. We basically know the idea of the storyline, but now we got to figure out how we're going to get through it.
I mean, you have the whole dragon arc that you're now going through, which is, again, going to impact the world and lead you into the next arc, which will probably be the final arc. And a
Which makes sense.
3-arc story. You have your beginning where you all introduced. I killed multiple of you.
Introduced and killed.
Introduced and killed, and then reintroduced. And then, every D&D campaign starts out, well, everything's fine, and everything happens to these group of people for whatever reason.
All of a sudden, they just happen to find themselves in the middle of hell.
Yeah.
Well, every true D&D campaign starts off with a bunch of people in a tavern, and then something barges in, which we had.
Yep. I gave you guys backstory of how you guys all met. Of course, Nick, you were off in the field laying there as a statue. But you guys had met before, and then I forget how we brought in the Baron, because
Mav knew him.
Oh yeah, Mav knew him,
and that was Baron's first introduction was to M. Scott at Babylon at the Speakeasy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they found me, and then the Baron dipped, and then Defina was a henchman.
Which again, that was completely on the fly, because you guys had never found the people that went out to scout.
Yep.
So I was like, that would be funny to bring in a new player that has now have reason to hate these people,
but has to work with these people
that left them for dead, basically. So I'm a conniving asshole when it comes to our campaign.
As long as, we get through the storyline, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
However conniving it is.
So I've been influenced by a lot of things, and I can't wait to finish this campaign and do a campaign wrap up to tell the actual inspiration, because you guys will just be like, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to reveal itself when you guys are done with the Dragon arc, and it's going to be pretty on the nose.
Cool.
Yeah. So I've been inspired by a lot of things. And I try to pull from different characters, or either going to be people from my life, people, my job, people that I've interacted with. There's a little bit of that. And then
So where did we get Rusty from then?
Rusty came from really Valerie just not liking the certain character. And then I'm just kind of rolling with that. I can improv. So, all right, now this guy's going to be a bumbling idiot and constantly fucks up all the time.
But yet also sometimes very crucial to our plans.
Yep.
Like when we're going to light him on fire as a distraction.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I can mention this. We had started doing this campaign out of Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Yep.
That the first session was basically 1-for-1. I had changed the names to everything, basically. And then after that first session, I practically abandoned the book.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't like how the book told its story. Because I'm an asshole. Because I was thinking, oh, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, you're going to have a heist from a dragon. No, not at all. It turns out that the money is called dragon. Yeah.
Oh.
It's cool money terminology.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's fucking dumb. And then, like, the whole second chapter was basically you guys rebuilding the house. That was the whole second chapter.
That's stupid.
Yeah. That was it. Like, you just build a house, and then you, like, spend a whole bunch of money rebuilding the house. And then you can make money because you're making it into a bar and inn, blah, 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 which I incorporated in our campaign, but I didn't make it a whole arc.
Right.
It was a thing we did.
Because then
one
you
day.
also fucking destroyed it. So,
Probably.
You don't know that.
well, the one building.
The one building that stands in Waterford. And then, like, the third chapter was something blows up, then you go investigate. And I was like, this is dumb. Like, I'm reading this, and I'm not enjoying it. So I just quickly abandoned it and started making it up.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
What about you, Curtis? You got any questions for him?
I did not know that I was supposed to bring questions.
Anything that you're curious about the campaign that I can maybe reveal?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
So I got another one for you.
Okay.
So, as someone who's created many one-shots and stuff like that, and having to build encounters in games, I find it difficult to build an encounter that's tough enough to where they don't just walk all over everything, but not too tough to where everyone dies, and I have to come up with some story as to why you guys scaved out of there for some reason. So, how do you come about to try and build your encounters?
Trial and error. Early on, it was a lot more difficult, but now I feel like it's gotten a good groove. I'm able to. You guys are way overpowered right now.
And that's another thing too that I think, because like the DM guide has, you know, the encounter builder, like take all the level of your team and, you know, their experience points equals this, and then you take the experience points from the monsters, add them up, and then put a multiplier based on how many there are, and then there's a tiers for how difficult the fight should be. And I'm like, but that does not account magical weapons at all.
Nope. It's based off the character level and how many people are in their party. It's a challenge rating, the CR.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look at that when I'm building an encounter, and then I have to take into account that you guys are way overpowered, and I've created reasons for that to be narratively that you guys have no idea about. So then I try to make that in balance. So a lot of times in a lot of my boss fights, it's going to be probably a really hard thing that's a way higher challenge rating than a lot of minions, a lot of cannon fodder, just to fuck things up. And then as we're going through the encounter, I will maybe adjust HP or start fudging rolls a little bit more if I see you guys are really struggling with it. And then I'll fudge rolls, make more guys miss, so you guys get on your feet again. You guys usually get rolling really quickly, and then sometimes you guys just roll through an encounter. I'm like, oh, I guess the next guy is going to be harder.
Yeah, it also depends upon how our rolls are going that night too.
Yeah, and I also have to take that into account because I don't want if the rolls suck, then they have to suck, and we have to go forward that way. I can't manipulate the situation. Oh, they just rolled poorly, so then they skate through. If the rolls suck, the dice is going to tell the story.
Right.
Which has happened multiple times. I mean, M. Scott is an example of that.
Yep.
You could have gotten by, but even with the lower DC, you still rolled below that lower DC. So, rip.
Yep.
I know that I've made puzzles in some of my one shots, and thought they were pretty clever. Thought it would take you guys a minute. You guys got it accidentally on the first try.
Yeah, when you guys went to the Raven Temple, I looked up multiple puzzles. Some of them were really easy. The joke puzzle with the door, and you hit the button, and there's a countdown. You guys all panicked. That was hilarious. And then I fucked up that one puzzle. The end puzzle, I think. The last puzzle, I fucked up.
The one with the different
elements
and the
No. That one was fine. It was the one where
which as soon as we got there, I was like, please let this be a fucking
Fifth Element
puzzle, like right now. Like that was my first instinct, and I was like, ooh, it's gonna be. I like the little additive though of like the acid spraying out, and if you did the wrong shit to it.
Yep. The last puzzle where like one of the letters was something else.
Oh yeah, that puzzle.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about now.
And completely fucked up because the first puzzle you had to like figure out the word based off of characters. You had to stand on the right.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that just was time consuming. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that puzzle.
I'd say we did. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what that puzzle was or how I came up with that. I don't even remember the clues.
I feel like it's got to be some, not Ark of the Covenant. What's the third one?
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
A little bit. Because it was certain letters or certain symbols equaled a letter. Oh, I had written it in Celestial. And
which would have been perfect if we still had M. Scott. But we didn't.
You didn't.
And no one else knows Celestial. M. Scott had attempted to begin teaching me some Celestial because that was a language I didn't know. But we did not get very far in that, obviously, because,
M.
he's
Scott
dead.
died.
Yeah. Yep, it was symbols in Celestial, so you had to then navigate what the Celestial letter meant in English to then spell out what that puzzle was.
Which was Raven Queen was the puzzle.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It took us way too long to figure that one out.
I think I said in that episode, you guys are going to feel dumb when...
Well, it was like, we were getting there, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is going to spell out Raven Queen, but we had that one that was missed, like one of the symbols was done wrong, so I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, it's almost perfect to be Raven Queen, but there's a symbol there, or a symbol or whatever is just not...
Oh, it looked like another symbol or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that one I think I did right. It was that last puzzle. I forget what the puzzle name is called. Brian picked it up immediately. And I spelled it wrong or something.
It was just a cipher, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was basically.
Oh, yeah. It was that cipher one.
Yep. Which you guys didn't hear it in the episode, but that was like 45 minutes of you guys messing with that first puzzle, and that's
right idea, but it was, I think one of them was off by like one letter
or something. Yeah,
that's right.
I think I had to cut out a large chunk of that just so that I could publish the episode.
Because a lot of it was you guys just thinking.
Yeah,
there was a lot of dead noise in that.
A lot of dead noise, and it just wasn't going to export. It just wasn't
fair.
Totally fair.
So with that, I pulled from Reddit. Reddit's a great source from different kind of puzzles. That brings me to another one, the useless key, the dick key that you guys have. That whole puzzle was also pulled from Reddit.
Well, and it was perfect going through, like, out of character when we were sitting here trying to go through it with the dick key, and like Ryan's over here talking, and then Ryan just mumbles a couple things that are totally just off the wall, and the Curtis is like, boom. Like, I figured it out.
It was a candle and it was something else.
Music,
that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was pulled from Reddit. I mean, why reinvent the wheel? And I like the idea of having a dick key.
Well, and like we talked about, because I think we were gonna miss an episode when we were venturing with Snee, going to get him.
Oh yeah.
So then I had made a one shot that was ready for, like, I think it was just going to be you and Valerie and Ryan, because I think Curtis was going to be out or something. And I had it set up like I already have the one shot, so we can go back and play it at any point in time. But like I named it Snee's D&D Wonderland or something like that. And it was going to be Snee DMing with the other characters and Tim playing as Mav, running through a D&D campaign that they've come up with, which, I've got puzzles and gags and things like that that'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But a good one shot, I would say, always has a really weak and easy combat, some sort of puzzle or trap or something that's makes your brain work a little bit, and then the boss fight.
Yeah, pretty much. Renfrey came from one of the one shots.
It's true. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And that character is influenced by Parks and Rec with Andy Samberg. Was a guest star.
With the
Park ranger.
was he a park ranger? Yeah.
Yeah, and he just talked really loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was influenced. That's Renfrey.
Yep.
And then of course you have to have a horny bard.
Always.
Always
A horny bard.
Yeah, that just. And when you guys went to Roger's house, all made up on the fly.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
All made up, and again influenced by Critical Role. Scanlan wore purple, so I was like, all right, this guy is a horny bard. Scanlan was too in Critical Role, so I was like, everything in his house is going to be purple. He's going to have a purple dildo. He's going to have a purple shag. Everything.
Even had a purple oven.
Yep, purple oven. I think his table was purple too.
Yep.
So I'm influenced, I guess, a lot by improv and comedy in this campaign. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other hard-hitting questions?
No, I think those pretty much covered it. I think it was good to see the insight of the DM and, anyone who wants to do their own one-shots or campaigns, gives them some ideas.
Yeah, my philosophy is what entertains me, what makes me laugh, what would challenge the players, what would make my players laugh. Yeah. And develop things that way.
And I was going to say, too, like, we even had some, before we got this D&D campaign kicked off, we had a good set of one-shots, some of which, we picked up online that were already made.
Mm-hmm.
Was it you or was it Ryan that did Grandma's Apple Pie?
That was me.
Yeah, I love that one. That's a great one. And then I think Ryan picked one that I had done previous. And then I think Ryan did another one that or you did another one that you made up.
Yeah, that was
think.
based on Zelda.
Hmm?
It was your one shot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was the one that I missed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Which,
It was based on Breath of the Wild.
which again, pretty easy, pretty simple, but fun to do and fun to fuck around with.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, and if you're wanting to start your own campaign, I would do a series of one shots just to see how the party gels and play as well. If you're the DM, play and one of the one shots, make your players DM some, even if they've never DM'd before, just to get them the feel of what I have to go through.
What it takes to DM a campaign.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
someone who's never DM'd, it's really easy. Like, they have a whole lot online. Like the couple that we just talked about that we had done before. They're good. They're easy. They don't take a whole lot of time, and they're pretty much all set out for you. And there's a whole bunch of forums for like pre-made one shots all over the place.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Reddit is a good source as well. They have a bunch of D&D stuff on there. And I would argue my strength as a DM is being able to improv, and I had another one, and I totally forgot.
Being naked.
Being naked the whole time I DM, I'm not wearing pants.
Exactly.
No one
Just-
can see.
It's just a Tuesday at Tim's.
I definitely had a second strength. Now I can't remember. Oh, being a good storyteller. That's probably my 2 strengths. Everything else is kind of whatever. It's a DMing, in my opinion, is like 80% improv. Because your players are going to do shit that you've never thought of.
100%.
So then it's, how do I respond to that? And I usually, if you follow the trend, what is more funnier? Or, what would make the most sense in this narrative reason?
Well, even, situations where, because I've TPK'd whole groups before. For those who don't know, that's total party kill. I've done it multiple times, and then you got to come up with a reason why they're not actually all dead to continue the storyline. Because you as a DM, that's the whole point. If
Nah.
one character dies, it's unfortunate, and sometimes you can find a way to bring them back. Sometimes they don't want to, and they decide to make a new character.
But sometimes entire parties need to be killed.
Well,
Yeah,
that's also not wrong.
when you're getting bored as a DM or as a player, yeah, sometimes it just needs, the story needs to
Or
end.
when it takes months to get your 3rd session in.
That too.
Yeah. I mean, early on when you all died against Darius, like that was shaping up to be a TPK.
Yep.
And then I had to make a narrative reason for him not to kill this whole person, and then, oh yeah, there's this whole God narrative that I'm using, so it makes sense.
Other narratives could have been he knocks us all out and then puts us prisoner, and then we have to escape and do more shit. You know,
I have not wanted to put you all in prison because that's the whole fucking thing.
trying to then escape prison.
Yeah.
Well, you could have us in the guard's jail and then transferred to an actual prison site, and then we have to escape during transport where it's easier. Or Mav comes in to help us.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole lot of extra work.
Or you're in the cell where there's a secret passage that they need to get the king out.
Right?
Oblivion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
This cell's supposed to be empty.
I guess
You're coming with us.
This is your lucky day.
Or a dragon attacks when you're about to get beheaded.
Skyrim.
It's actually convenient that almost every single time in the Elder Scrolls you're somehow fucking in prison.
I forget what Morrowind was.
I never played Morrowind, so I wouldn't
Me
know.
either.
Because with my story, the paladins want to get involved, and you're going to the capital. So I never wanted to actually. I wanted to have that threat, but I never actually wanted to do it because I didn't want the paladins.
Basically, the whole fucking capital.
Yeah, and then they would interrogate you, and as soon as they touched Snee, it was all over.
Snee just. Well, I mean, Snee almost died in a pit of lava, too, so.
Again, with the Morarch. Yeah, you almost fell to your death.
Yep. The most dexterous one that should have been able to make it across almost dies.
And that's allowing the dice to tell the story.
I was ready, though. I already had a backup character and everything.
Did you,
I did.
Curtis, have a backup character when it was
Nope.
I've still got mine. I need to level them up for where we're at now, but I still have mine.
Because I think in order to start making my character, at the time I wasn't paying for D&D Beyond, so I had to destroy one of my characters. I don't remember what it was. Actually, I think it was Aruda, because I have Aruda on paper.
Yep. You also have Balthazar on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I never put him on electronic.
Because he's dead.
Instrad.
Yeah.
He will be resurrected someday.
It's not how it works in Strahd.
It's gonna happen.
It's not how it works in Strahd.
I want him back.
I have like 50 characters now.
Well, you also create characters to have in campaign for your storyline. So
I do.
at one point in time, I actually had probably pushing 20 characters ready to go for campaigns that we are not playing. I was like, "Whoa, this sounds like a good idea." I'd go and I make this character, And then, but I also, I do a lot in the way of my backstories, and I do a lot of research and stuff. Granted, homebrewed place, a little different, but like I had one for Out of the Abyss, and like I had a whole backstory. Like he was, second in command of the guard of Baldur's Gate, and his dad's the regent there, and his brother's the captain of the guard, and all this kind of stuff, and had all this information, which also conveniently enough, spoilers for anyone who's going to play Out of the Abyss, but you go by Baldur's Gate in the campaign, so I was like, oh, that's even better.
Right.
And I didn't even know that, but I put a lot into my backstories. So I had a whole bunch of people with a whole bunch of backstories ready to go.
I did that one time. And then he got murdered twice.
Womp, womp, womp.
And I said never again.
None of my characters will have backstories ever again.
Any kind of backstory.
I've traumatized you.
Every character that Curtis will have from now on will end up like Snee. I don't know who I am, where I'm at, or what I'm doing.
Well, that's why I did that to you specifically, Nick, is because you would have these elaborate things. It would be fun for him and fun for me to make up your story on the fly.
And I'm still trying to piece shit together and figure things out.
You gave Kolbesh a little bit of a backstory.
Yeah. That's about all he's going to get. I didn't even... I don't want to give away anything.
Okay, that's fair. I know it because you told me.
Yeah.
He's got a really small penis.
Probably.
Does it grow when he grows? When he goes to
I would hope
I would
so.
assume so.
No, it just stays the same size. And he's just massive.
He's 12 foot tall and his dick is like an inch.
Yep.
Oh.
It's very sad.
Wow.
Oh. If you have a small dick, you can reach us at... Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we can get started on our campaign again, because I have dragons to kill you with.
No, I'm going to kill another dragon.
Cities,
No, wait, no. Babylon killed the dragon. I'm going to kill another dragon rider.
Okay.
I'm going to intimidate another dragon
Not fight at all.
and not fight at all.
I mean, there's an entire city burning and people are dying, and you decide to pull from the deck of many things and get voided into hell.
Hey,
I know what you're talking about.
we had to prove that it wasn't dangerous.
It's true.
Now
Now we're more hesitant.
Yeah. Again, not to get on another tangent, I lean more into comedy. D&D, hell, you're supposed to have like 9 levels of hell, and it's supposed to be this terrible, awful place. And I was just like, let's make it Vegas.
At least parts of it.
Parts of it.
And
And then
people still live in hell. They still need things like gambling and parties and
Yeah.
whores.
and I think the tiefling lore is they come from hell.
Yep.
So and that's why there's a bunch of haughty tieflings.
Hey.
Hey, so that's all for us on this episode of the BS Roll at Night. Love you, bye.
Bye.
Bye.